people out here saying Xbox won the console war. Since when, bitch?
Console wars are officially over. All my Xbox loyalists, we won.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, Xbox officially won me over for good.
PlayStation had a good run, but Xbox is cooking them.
When did they want anything? Why the fuck are you obsessed with the console wars of 2025 is a real question. How did Xbox win the console wars when they increased the price from $500 to $600, bro? Where is the desire to get into Xbox at this point? And I'm not just being a hater, I'm being a realist in this conversation. You got motherfuckers acting like just because ROG Ally and MetaQuest X are partnering with Xbox means that Xbox own the fucking product. It's partner, bitch, not ownership. PS5 has sold about 4-1 when it comes to the Xbox Series. That's not an opinion, that's a fucking fact. And shit like that be the reasons why we call you people casual gamers. That's not an insult unless you want it to be, bitch. Stop listening to entry-level motherfuckers who barely play an Xbox. Stop listening to people who barely make any gaming content. And start researching this shit, bitch. Read, nigga!
What's up, everyone, and welcome back. Yes, you heard it right. The old debate that us gamers has had since forever. The console war debate. But is the console war over? And who won? Me personally, I'm an Xbox guy, but I always had both. Then I invested in a PC, and I didn't fucking care anymore. But this console generation, a lot of people have said Xbox won the war this time. With consoles having less exclusives, and there's crossplay now, it doesn't matter much which console you get. Here's another creator that disagrees and believes Xbox is still trash compared to the PlayStation 5.
Y'all, I just seen a video of a guy saying that Xbox won the console war when they literally have not been in the running since 2011. Is it just me or just some members of the gaming community are becoming too gullible? How do you give a war to a console that hasn't even come out yet? Crazy part is the same people that are claiming that Xbox won this war are those who are upset that the Nintendo Switch 2 is $450. What the heck are you gonna do when Xbox drops this $1,000 handheld? Cry? No, it just goes to show that people actively hate on Nintendo and Nintendo players every day for no apparent reason. They say they hate the company, they say they hate the prices, they say they don't want to pay $80 for games, but then are going to turn around and bend over backwards for Xbox as soon as they drop this handheld, which has strictly digital games that you're going to license. I don't know, man. I don't think the whole gaming community is like this, but definitely anybody who is jumping on the back of a console that is not even out yet, a handheld at that. Come on, y'all. Like, come on. I don't know. I just think you should play whatever console you want and don't really get into the overhype on social media because there's always going to be a whole bunch of people rooting on one side and dissing the other. And if you find yourself in between, you're just going to be lost. And since people are getting on here and just talking with no user experience, here's my credibility. I do have the Nintendo Switch 2 and I also have the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. I personally don't know if I will be upgrading to the Xbox ROG Ally. I'm really a PlayStation user first. I do still have my PS5. I will get the new PlayStation Vita, whatever that's going to come out for the handheld. I plan on getting that when it releases in 2026. But as for an Xbox ROG Ally, I think I'm just going to upgrade to the ROG Ally X. Let me know what you think.
Nah, I need every PlayStation Panther to come to the front. You, come here, front and center. Now, despite my previous rage bait, nobody really cares about the console wars. But check this article out. This says, according to job listings, Sony to expand PlayStation Studio titles across Steam, Epic, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. That means that some PlayStation titles are about to be on cell phone, no drizzy. I mean, truth be told, there's already been PlayStation titles across multiple platforms, but every time I talk about consoles, some PlayStation pioneers are in my comment section like, exclusives are the heart and soul of PlayStation. Here at PlayStation, we have exclusives. And now you guys are about to be exclusively on everything, down to a cell phone. Speaking of which, I play everything. I have an Xbox, I have a PS5. I personally never liked exclusives. I wanted to play what I wanted to play, whatever I want to play it on. And I think that's amazing. This is what's going to make the world go round in gaming. Get what you want where you want it. Xbox is dragging over their titles too, so that's just perfect. But the only person holding on for real is Nintendo. Nintendo, stop playing. Go ahead and drop Mario Kart on PlayStation. We need that. Beta!
I know for a fact Nintendo will not have any of their games on any other consoles. Nintendo will never join forces with Xbox and PlayStation. They are strict about their license. Nintendo is like a fucking mafia compared to the other companies. She had great points also. Xbox has had trouble with console exclusives for years. With PlayStation having Spider-Man and The Last of Us, it's really gave you a reason to want a PlayStation. But Xbox Game Pass has been a big addition for Xbox. A lot of people have gotten an Xbox because of Game Pass, especially since gaming is expensive in this economy. You really don't have to buy games if you have Game Pass, and it can really help if you're on a budget.
What a shit show. Seriously, if you weren't there, you missed a spectacle of pure, unfiltered chaos. It was like a digital battlefield, but instead of swords and shields, people wielded controllers and keyboard warrior rants. Gather round, kids, and let Papa Pewds tell you a story from the ancient times, the console wars. Back then, every living room was a war zone, and every friend group had at least one traitor who dared to pick the wrong console. It was an epic, idiotic battle between Team PlayStation, Team Xbox, and Team Nintendo, all screaming at each other in forums and YouTube comments. The internet was ablaze with memes, insults, and endless debates over which console was superior. Every new game announcement or hardware reveal was like pouring gasoline on a bonfire. People would lose their minds over the smallest details, dissecting every frame of a trailer just to prove their side was winning. People wasted energy defending billion-dollar companies that didn't know they existed. Hours were lost in pointless arguments, friendships were tested, and sleep schedules were absolutely destroyed. Grown adults wrote essays about processors, filmed themselves smashing consoles, and argued over teraflops and batteries. It was like a tech cult, with everyone desperate to convert the non-believers. You were either a Sony pony, an Xbot, or a Nintendrone. No middle ground. The labels were worn like badges of honor, and switching sides was basically treason. The logic was always flawed. My console is better because it has this one game you can't play. As if a single exclusive title could justify years of tribal warfare. It was peak brand loyalty, and we all fell for it. We cheered for companies like they were sports teams, forgetting that, at the end of the day, it was all about playing games and having fun. But here we are, in 2025, and I'm here to declare, the console wars are dead. The lines have blurred, and most people just want to play good games, no matter where they are. The reasons for fighting have evaporated, and the fanboys are left shouting into an empty void. Nobody's listening anymore, and honestly, nobody cares. The world has moved on, and gaming is so much better for it. Crossplay is a thing, exclusives are less important, and people are just enjoying games together. Fighting over a box is now as outdated as dial-up internet. It's a relic of a time when we thought our plastic boxes defined us. And honestly, thank fuck for that. We can finally just play, laugh, and enjoy what gaming was always meant to be, fun. To understand why the end of the console wars is a blessing, you need to know the soldiers who fought in it. The PlayStation fanboy, Sony pony, worshipped cinematic games and Metacritic scores, wielding Game of the Year awards like holy swords. The Xbox fanboy, Xbot, lived for Halo, specs, and online infrastructure, defending every Microsoft decision with cult-like loyalty. Nintendo fanboys? They were in their own magical sandbox, immune to arguments about graphics, powered by nostalgia and innovation. These three archetypes formed the bedrock of the conflict, locked in endless online battles of whataboutism and sales figures. Each group was so convinced of their own superiority, they missed the truth. Everyone just liked playing games. They argued about the brand of the hammer instead of enjoying building the house. It was tribalism, pure and simple. Now it feels like a relic of a less connected, more insecure time. And honestly, good riddance. What fueled the console wars? One word, exclusives. These weren't just games, they were the lifeblood of entire ecosystems. The reason you'd pick one console over another and defend your choice with almost fanatical loyalty. Sony had its prestige single-player epics, blockbuster adventures that felt like interactive movies, with stories and characters you couldn't find anywhere else. Microsoft, meanwhile, built its empire on online shooters and competitive multiplayer, creating a digital playground where friends and rivals clashed night after night. And then, there was Nintendo, with its own universe of magic, timeless worlds, iconic characters, and a sense of wonder that brought people together, young and old. These exclusives were the crown jewels, the treasures that made you pledge allegiance to a single box. They were the games you'd brag about, the ones you'd invite friends over to play or secretly envy from afar. Your console wasn't just a machine, it was a secret club, a badge of identity. You wore your allegiance on your sleeve, sometimes literally, and found your tribe in the process. companies poured millions into exclusives, not just to sell games but to sell consoles. The stakes were high, and every exclusive was a weapon in a never-ending battle for your loyalty and your wallet. E3 wasn't just a celebration of games, it was a battleground. A place where companies counted exclusives like trophies, each one a point scored against the competition. For Sony to win, Microsoft had to lose, and vice versa. Every announcement was a shot fired, every exclusive a line drawn in the sand. We were pawns in their marketing chess game, cheering when our side captured a new piece, feeling genuine pride or disappointment as the battle raged on. We celebrated being locked out of experiences, which is insane in hindsight. We cheered for walls that kept us apart, not realizing what we were missing. Friendships and communities were defined by these artificial walls. Online forums became echo chambers, and even real-life friendships sometimes bent under the weight of console loyalty. The idea of Halo on PlayStation was blasphemy, an unthinkable betrayal of everything the console wars stood for. The exclusive was king, and its job was to make sure everyone else knew exactly what they were missing out on. It was about pride, envy, and the thrill of having something others couldn't touch. But that era is over. The walls are coming down, and the idea of exclusives ruling the world feels like a relic of a different time. Then, everything changed. The walls started to crumble as third-party exclusives died out. Publishers realized limiting sales to one console was stupid, so games started showing up everywhere. Suddenly, PlayStation and Xbox libraries were 95% identical. Call of Duty, FIFA, Fortnite, Minecraft, GTA, all on every platform. The unique selling points shrank. The war was now over a handful of games per year. The value shifted from, what can I only play here, to, what's the best way to play everything? The plastic box became a commodity, a means to an end. The reason for the war simply vanished. Still not convinced that the era of exclusives is truly behind us? Let's take a closer look at how the gaming landscape has transformed right before our eyes, and how the lines that once divided us are now fading into memory. Remember those legendary titles we used to guard like treasures, the ones that defined entire consoles? Many of those sacred cows have now been sacrificed at the altar of profit and progress. Halo, once the unbreakable symbol of Xbox loyalty, now finds itself on PC and even PlayStation. Microsoft's former exclusives, Gears of War, Forza, Sea of Thieves, are no longer locked away. They're everywhere, crossing boundaries that once seemed impossible. Sony's most prized franchises like Horizon Zero Dawn have made their way to Steam, opening up to a whole new audience. Even God of War and Spider-Man, once the ultimate PlayStation bragging rights, are now available on PC, breaking down the walls that separated fans for decades. The ultimate weapons in the arsenal of fanboys, those exclusive games, are now being shared with everyone, no matter what device you play on. Why the sudden change? It's simple. There's far more money to be made selling games to everyone, rather than keeping them locked to a single platform. The industry has realized that inclusivity means bigger profits and happier players. Even those once coveted third-party exclusivity deals are fading away, as publishers see the value in reaching the widest possible audience. After all, why risk alienating half your fan base? Publishers have learned that angering gamers with exclusivity only leads to backlash and lost sales. The most jaw-dropping example, MLB The Show, developed by Sony, launched on Xbox Game Pass, meaning Xbox players got it for free, while PlayStation owners ironically had to pay full price. If that's not a sign of changing times, what is? If that doesn't signal the end of the console wars, then nothing does. The old rivalries are fading, replaced by a new era of cooperation and shared experiences. The fortress walls have crumbled, and now everyone's invited to the gaming party, no matter what device they bring. Exclusivity is no longer a badge of honor, it's become a business liability, a relic of a more divided past. The market has spoken loud and clear. Gamers want access, not division. They want to play together, not be kept apart. The war is over, the spoils are for everyone, and the future of gaming is more open and more exciting than ever before. As exclusivity died, new priorities rose: services, convenience, and playing with friends. Crossplay changed everything. You can play with friends on any platform. Sony resisted, but players demanded it, and now it's almost standard. Crossplay killed the main reason for console tribalism. Buy the box you want, play with anyone, anywhere. Subscription models like Game Pass change the game, pay a monthly fee, access hundreds of titles. It's the Netflix of gaming, encouraging experimentation and making gaming more accessible. Sony's PS Plus is following suit. The new war is about who offers the best subscription. The industry is moving toward access and community, not locked content. Cloud gaming, subscriptions, and crossplay are what matter now. The brand of the box is just an afterthought. The power is shifting to the players. We're voting for convenience and connection, not division. Of course, some console warriors still lurk in the shadows. Twitter, Reddit, Resetera, they're like soldiers who never got the memo the war is over, still arguing about frame rates and sales figures. It's nostalgia for a conflict with no stakes. They celebrate sales as if they get a cut and nitpick over loading speeds and UI. It's the digital equivalent of old men arguing about lawnmowers. Nobody else cares, we're all just playing games. If you see one, don't engage. Just observe with pity and amusement. They're fossils from a bygone era. The rest of us have moved on. With the death of the console wars, everybody won. Gamers have more choice, more access, and more ways to play with friends. Fewer games are held hostage, and online communities are bigger and more united. Developers can sell to everyone, making more money and taking more creative risks. Even Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are thriving, selling software and services, not just boxes. They've carved out their own niches, and are no longer fighting for the same territory. So next time you see a console war argument, just laugh. It doesn't matter what box you play on. The only thing that matters is having fun. We all won by refusing to fight. The console wars are over, a relic of a tribal, less mature internet. The walls are down, not because one side won, but because the industry changed. The future isn't PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo, it's just gaming. Now, a Sony game can launch on Xbox Game Pass, and you can squad up with friends on any platform. We're closer than ever to the ideal play any game, with anyone, on any device. The conversation has shifted to more important topics: worker rights, monetization ethics, accessibility, and celebrating indie devs. We've matured, and so has the industry. Let's remember the console wars for the cringe they were, and bury them for good. Embrace cross-platform unity and player-first thinking. Celebrate the games, not the boxes. The war is over and the peace is pretty damn good. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to play a game, and I don't care what plastic you're using. Brofist.